Merry Christmas everyone, DCB here, and welcome to the Christmas Eve special. And this Christmas Eve special, I'm going to be reading you a Christmas story, a short Christmas story, originally wrote by Charles Dickens. It's not, of course, his Christmas Carol, but it is another one of his short stories that is not very well known, and I just thought I'll share it with you, as it also... well, you'll hear what else it goes into. What Christmas is as we grow older. A short Christmas story by Charles Dickens. Time was, with most of us, when Christmas Day, encircling all our limited world like a magic ring, left nothing out for us to miss or seek, bound together all our home enjoyments, affections and hopes, grouped everything and everyone around the Christmas fire, and made the little picture, singing in our bright young eyes, complete. Time came perhaps, all so soon, when our thoughts overleaped that narrow boundary, where there was someone very dear, we thought, then very beautiful and absolutely perfect, wanting to the fullness of our happiness, when we were waiting to, or so we thought, which did just as well, at Christmas Heath, by which that someone sat, and when we intertwined with every wreath and garland of our life that sought someone's name. That was the time for the bright visionary Christmases, which have long arisen from us to show family after summer rain in the plainest edges of the rainbow. That was the time for the battlefield enjoyment of things that were to be and never were, and yet for things that were so real in our resilient hope that it would be hard to say now what realities achieved since have been stronger. What? Did that Christmas never really come, when we and the priceless pearl, who was our youth choice, were received after the happiest of totally impossible marriages by the two united families previously at daggers being drawn into account, when brothers and sisters-in-law who had always been rather cool to us before our relationship was affected, perfectly doted on us, and when fathers and mothers overwhelmed us with unlimited incomes. What was that Christmas dinner never really eaten, after which we arose and generously and equally rendered honour to our late rivals, present in the company then and there, exchanging friendship and forgiveness, and founding attachment, not to be surpassed in Greek or Roman stories, which surprised until death? Has that same rival long ceased to care for that same priceless pearl, and married for money, and become unconsiderate? Above all, do we really know now that we should probably have been miserable if we had won and worn that pearl, and that we are better without her? That Christmas, when we had recently achieved so much fame, when we had been carried in triumphant somewhere for doing something good and great, when we had won and honoured an embedded name and arrived, when we were received at home in a shower of tears and joy, is it possible that Christmas has not come yet? And yet our life here at the best, so constant that pausing as we advance in such a noticeable milestone in the track of this great birthday, we look back on the things that never were, as naturally as full as gravity on such things that have been and are gone, and have yet been and still are. And if it be so, and so it seems to be, must come, we come to the conclusion that life is little better than a dream, and little worth of the love and savings and starvings that we crowd into it? No! Far be such medical prodigies from us, dear listener, viewer, on this Christmas. Nearer and closer to our hearts be the Christmas spirit, which is the spirit of achievement, usefulness, perseverance, cheerfulness, discharge of duty, kindness, and forebodance. By the unassumptuous vision of youth, for we shall say that there are no teachers to deal greatly, even with the imperceptible nothings of the earth. Therefore, as we grow older, let us be more thankful that the circle of our Christmas assortions and of the lessons that they bring expand. Let us welcome every one of them and summon them to take their places at the Christmas heath. Welcome old aspirations, grittling creatures of an abundant fancy to your shelter underneath the holly. We know you and have not outlived you yet. Welcome old projects and old loved, however fleeting, to your nooks among the shadow lights that burn around us. Welcome all that was real into our hearts, and for the earthness that made you real. Thanks to all do we build no Christmas castles in the clouds now. Let our thoughts, fluttering like butterflies among these flowers of children, bear witness before these people. There stretches out a future brighter than has ever looked in our old romantic times, but bright with honour and truth. Around this little head on which the sunny circles lie, heaped in the gracious spots as prettily, as airily, as when there was no scythe within the reach of time to shear away the curls of our first love. Upon the girl's face, upon placing shining bright, a quiet and contented little face, we see home fairly written, shining from the world as rays of shine from a star. We see how when our youths, our hearts, our moves, how they move away and smooth, how the happiness blooms, ripens and delays, no, not decays, for our homes and our other bands of children, not yet in bearing, not from age to yet to be, arisen and blooming and ripen to the end of all. Welcome everything, welcome alike what has been and what never was, and what we hope may be, to your shelter underneath the holly, to your place around the Christmas fire, where what is sits open-hearted in yonder shadow. Do not see obstructive fealty upon the blaze, and enemies faced by Christmas Day. We do forgive them if the injury has done us, may admit such to companionship. Let otherwise, unhappily, let him go hence. Assure him that he will never injure nor accusing. On this day, we shut out nothing. Nothing. Pause. Says a low voice. Nothing. Think. On Christmas Day, we shut out from our fireside nothing. Not the shadow of a vast city, where the wilderness leaves are dying. The voices reply. Not the shadow that darkens the whole globe, nor the shadow of the city of the dead, not even that, of all days in the year, we turn our faces towards this city upon this day, and from its silent host bring those loved among us, from the city of the dead, in the blessed name where we are gathered, and today at this time, and in the presence that is among us, according to the promises we will receive and dismiss, thy people are dear to us. Yes, we can look upon these children, angels that alight so solemnly, so beautifully among the living children by the fire, and we can bear to think how they departed from us, entertaining angels, unaware as the patriarchs and primarchs did. In the playful children are unconscious of their guests, but we can see them, can see a resolute arm around one favoured neck, as if they were attempting of that child away. Among the celestial figures there is one poor misshapen boy on earth, of a glorious beauty now, whom his dying mother said it grieved her so much to leave him here alone for so many years, as it was likely eclipsed before he came to her, being such a little child. But he went quickly, and was laid upon her breast, and in her hand she led him. There was a gallant boy who fell far away upon burning sand beneath a blazing sun, and said, "Tell them at home with my last love how much I could have wished to kiss them once more, but I have died counted and had been done my duty." Or there was another one who they read the words, "Therefore we commit his body to the deep," and so conveyed him to the lonely ocean and sailed on. Or there was another who lay down to rest in the dark shadows of a great forest, and on earth awoke no more. Oh, shall they not from the sand and sea and forest be brought home at such time? There was a dear girl amongst a woman, never to be won, who made a moaning Christmas in a house of joy, and went her trackless way to the silent city. Do we recount her worn-out fantasy whispers, what could not be heard, and falling into the last sleep of weariness? Oh, look upon her now! Oh, look upon her beauty, her serenity, her carelessness, youth, her happiness! The daughter of Jairus was rare to her life, to die, but she, more blessed, has risen, heard the same voice saying to her, "Arise evermore." We have a friend who was our friend from early days, whom we have often pictured that lives were come upon our lives, and Mary imagined how we would speak and walk and think and talk when we had come to be old. His destined habitation in the city of dead received him in his prime. Shall he be shut out from our Christmas remembrance? Lost his love so excited us? Lost friends, lost children, lost parents, sisters, brothers, mothers, all cherished, all hold dear in our places, in our Christmas heath and by our Christmas fires. And in this season of immortal hope, and on that birthday of immortal mercy, we shut out nothing. The winter sun goes down over the town and village on the sea. It makes a rosy path, as if a sacred treads were fished upon the water. A few more moments and it sinks, and night comes on. The lights begins to sparkle in prospect. On the hillside beyond the shifty, shiny, driftiest town, and the quiet keep of the trees that grind the village steeple. Remembrance are cut in stone, paved in common flowers, growing in grass, entwined with lonely brambles around the many moons of earth. In towns and villages there are doors and windows closed against the weather. There are flaming logs heaped high. There are joyful faces. There is a harshy music of voices. Be all underness and harm included from those temples of haunted gods, but those remembrance admit with tender encouragement there are of times, and all is confirming and peaceful. Reassurance and the history that reunited even upon the earth the living, the dead, and the broad benefits and goodness that too many people have tried to narrow and shed. Yes, that was a short Christmas story by Charles Dickens. There are a lot of good messages in there, a lot of good philosophy as well, a lot to get us to think about. I hope that you enjoyed that story and this video. I hope that you have a very Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year. Whatever you're doing over these past few days, don't get stressed about it. It is a joyous time of year, as Charles Dickens said. We reflect upon what has been and what is going to be, and live in the love and light of our loved ones, of our friends, of those who were our enemies and have now come to settle and be at peace with one another. Until the next time, this is DCB wishing you a Merry Christmas.